St. Columba lived from about 521 to 597. His feast day falls on June 9. Visitors to Ireland today struggle to find remains from the early Christian period. Centuries of time, repeated wars, rebellions under English rule, and the deliberate dismantling of Catholic institutions during the Protestant era left many major sites reduced to ruins. Columba was born into the powerful O'Donnell clan, likely as a prince. Yet County Donegal shows little evidence of that former influence. The Rock of Doon, where O'Donnell kings once received authority, now looks like just another rocky out. Columba's birthplace is marked only by a modern Celtic cross in an empty field. A flat stone nearby, according to tradition, was where his mother gave birth. Few physical reminders of Columba survive. His reputation endures. Irish and Scottish Christians honor him as a major national saint. Columba loved poetry and books, like many Irish scholars of his time. Shortly after his ordination, he visited St. Finian at Columba. There he saw a finely written psalter that Finian had brought from Rome. The text used St. Jerome's Latin translation and impressed Columba deeply. After the monks slept, Columba stayed awake night after night to copy the book by hand. When Finian learned of the copy, it demanded Italiano. Columba refused. The dispute grew bitter. Both men brought the case to Diarmaid, the High King of Ireland. Diarmaid ruled that every book belonged to its owner just as a calf belonged to its cow. Columba had to give up the copy he made. The matter did not end there. Columba returned home, angry and ashamed, struggling to restrain his desire for retaliation. Soon after, a man named Curran from Connaught killed another player during a hurling match by accident. The dead man was related to King Diarmaid. Fearing execution, Curran fled to Columba's monastery seeking sanctuary. Columba accepted him and began steps to clear him of murder. Before that process finished, the king's soldiers arrived. They forced their way inside despite resistance from the monks. Columba held Curran at the altar and tried to shield him. The soldiers threw Columba aside, dragged Curran out, and killed him. This second offense enraged Columba. He called on his clan to defend their honor in the sacred rite of sanctuary. The O'Donnells answered his call and went to war against the king. The armies met at Cooladrumin near Benbulban in County Sligo. Columba stood behind his kin, arranged in the shape of a cross, praying for victory. Finian stood behind the king's forces in the same posture. The battle ended with 3,000 dead. Columba's side won, and he believed justice had been served. Church leaders disagreed. Bishops and abbots gathered at Telltown in Meath to address the scandal. Columba faced possible excommunication as the one who sparked the conflict. Only the intervention of St. Brendan of Clonfert spared him. The Synod chose exile instead. Columba was ordered to bring as many people to the faith as the number killed in the battle. Adomnan, Columba's first biographer, avoided details about the Psalter dispute and the broken sanctuary law. He mentioned the threat of excommunication but did not explain the cause. He reassured readers that Columba's offense was minor and forgivable. He also argued that the proposed excommunication did not follow proper church procedure. Adomnan had reasons to defend him. Columba was his relative. They never met, since Columba died decades before Adomnan's birth. Family loyalty in Ireland carried great weight. Columba obeyed the synod. He prepared to leave Ireland. 12 monks, all relatives, chose to join him. They likely sailed from Derry, where Columba had founded a monastery. Heading north, they landed on Iona, a small island near the Isle of Mull. The land was rocky and poor for farming. For Irish monks, exile in such a place counted as a holy sacrifice. They called this form of suffering white martyrdom, to distinguish it from red martyrdom, which involved dying for the faith. Leaving Ireland and family was seen as a sacrifice that God would reward. Columba found this separation so painful that he built his cell where he could not see Ireland across the sea. While the monks built their monastery, King Conall of Dalriada granted them ownership of Iona. Conall was also related to Columba. Some people in Dalriada already practiced Christianity. For 2 years, Columba focused on strengthening the local church. He then planned a mission to the Picts, who still followed pagan practices and druids. Before starting, Columba asked for help from Ireland. St. Canis and St. Cumbel joined him. They went first to King Brud of Inverness. Brud refused to meet them and ordered his gates shut. Columba raised his hand and made the sign of the cross. The gates opened on their own. Brood allowed the missionaries to preach. Later tradition claimed Columba converted all the Picts. That claim overstates the case. Adamnan wrote that Columba crossed Scotland several times and preached in places such as Skye, Kintyre, and near Loch Ness. At Loch Ness, Columba encountered a funeral. The mourners said a man had died after being attacked by a creature in the water. As they spoke, another swimmer entered the loch. The creature rose and charged. Columba made the sign of the cross and ordered the beast to leave the man alone. The creature withdrew. This account stands as the earliest written reference to a monster in Loch Ness. In old age, Columba no longer traveled. He lived quietly at Iona as a kind and approachable abbot. He wrote poetry and copied manuscripts. While copying the Psalms, he reached the line, "They that seek the Lord shall not be deprived of any good thing." He stopped writing and said, Bathine should finish the work. Bathine was his chosen successor and also his cousin. That night, monks found Columba collapsed before the altar. He could not speak. He tried to bless them with his hand. He died soon after. Adamnan wrote that the church filled with loud mourning.